Alrighty. What's going on? It's back with another podcast, which I think I am going to have to change the name of because I remember I found that somebody used the name The Bauer Hour the last time. And then I used it, but I think the other one was about vehicles and this one's about music or YouTubers or whatever kind of creator, whatever kind of person it is, not necessarily guitar players. So today, this is a very off-the-cuff one, but I would like to welcome you to somebody you might know if you watch this channel, because he's been on my channel, and he kicks around on the internet quite a bit. His name's Pat Garrett, / Graves of the Innocent. Are they actually innocent?
Well, yeah. I don't know. That whole name is kind of a, I was making these videos that were kind of like, I don't want to call them social justice videos or whatever, but, my songs don't have lyrics, so I was making videos that would have a topic, and a lot of them would be about something that's not necessarily talked about very often, like some kind of old conspiracy or corruption of some kind that's not on the mass media all the time. So I would make these videos, and they'd almost be like documentaries. And so the whole point of the name was, what about all these people that, you don't get talked about? These innocent people that they're suffering from this, or they're getting handed this and it's wrong, So that was the whole thing behind that name. I
didn't know if it was just a cool name but there sounds like there's actually some thought behind the name. I'm still just using my own name because I haven't been creative enough to come up with a cool name like something like you have. And I certainly wish it did, but you know what? You kind of just have to run with what is natural to you and do that. So that's pretty cool that actually has a name. I didn't know that. Actually, I assumed it was a cool name and whatnot. Now you just told us a cool story right to start us off. That's wicked. So you just released a new album called Dystopian Dreams. Yeah, Dystopian Dreams. Dystopian Dreams. Sorry, I screwed it up.
No, that's all right. Yeah, that's all right. It was. Again, that name was just kind of based on the last year, and how everything's been shut down, and the fear of what's going to happen if we all stay shut down, and just that weird stuff, sci-fi type stuff, where the world turns into Mad Max, and that was the theme of the album. That's why it's got my big pretty picture on the front with my hair everywhere, and I look like I just walked out.
Your COVID haircut.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you something for everybody here. You want to see my COVID haircut? It was just this.
Perfect.
See, I couldn't hear you when I did that because this is how this goes. But that was the COVID haircut. It was the best time to be a bald dude. Everybody's like, you got to have hair. You got to have all the stuff. You got to slick it back. And then everybody had just awful haircuts. And probably, I wonder how many people over COVID try to give themselves a haircut and screwed it up even more.
Oh, yeah. You won't see it because they don't want to show it.
No. But social media doesn't show that side of you. They have to show when you got the actual haircut later on. Oh, I got a haircut, guys. It's like, I bet it was embarrassing to take that hat off. But guess what?
I tried to go the other way because my whole life, I'd never really grown my hair out at all, really. Maybe since I was a little boy when my mom wouldn't cut my hair till I was like 5 or something. But as an adult, I'd never let it grow. And I thought, you know what? The hell with it. The barbershops are closed. Work can't yell at me for my hair being too long. So I just let it go. And the longer it got, the more I realized it's just not for me. It was grown out to be like a freaking fro. And only part of it. Like some of it would lay down, but the rest was just going crazy more out. And yeah, this didn't work.
Didn't grow very even, but it made for a great album cover. So that worked.
Exactly.
So when did that got released? Only like what a week or two ago at this point?
Yeah, I think it was like 2 weeks ago on a Friday.
And so that would have been late February in this case.
Right.
Of 2021, because somebody else might be watching this in the future and think, oh, it's released 2 weeks ago, and think it's like, oh, it's September. No, it's not. It was February.
It's funny because it wasn't planned, but I actually ended up releasing it, I think, on the same date or within days of the same date of my first album, which was in 2019. So, it just happened to be the same weekend that the next album came out.
I remember
So-
you messaging us like, yeah, whatever. It's like, I'll release it then. It's like, why don't you just release it earlier? Why are you waiting so long? And if it's already done. Now, my question for you is all the production you? Did you do everything? That's awesome. You said did all the mixing, all the mastering, the whole works. So what do you think your favorite song is on the album?
My personal favorite is probably The Great Divide.
Yep.
And I had Robin Flink on that song, did a guest solo, kind of the main solo of the song.
Yep.
And Rex Briones was on there as well. And it started out, the beginning of the song is me doing a solo, and then we get further into the song, and then Rex comes in and does a short solo. I do a short solo, and then Robin kind of goes off for like a full 8 measures or something like that. Mm-hmm. But, I was thrilled when Robin said he'd do it, because I didn't know if he would. At the time, we knew each other, but we became closer since working together and doing that song. At the time, we didn't talk all the time or whatever, but I just knew he would be the perfect person to do it. And then he was like, yeah, right away, no problem. And then he whips out this killer solo. I mean, that would have taken me, if I could even play like that would have taken me all weekend to come up with. And I swear to God, he sent me, which was close to the finished product, in like an hour after he said he'd do it.
Like, that's insane.
So, yeah, but that was my favorite one. The other, there's not any of the songs on there that I wish I hadn't have put on there. Like I wouldn't call anything on there really like a filler song. But that's by far my favorite one. And a lot went into that one. And again, it's got a cool video. When you're listening on Spotify or whatever streaming it, you don't really know if there's any meaning behind it at all. It's just music. But when you watch the video, then it's a little more impactful.
That's one thing you got going for you, is that you somehow make these really unique and cool videos that it's not just playing in a room. Maybe you're not playing in it at all. And I could be wrong saying that, because I'm notorious for just listening to things, but I've noticed you always get these cool visuals. And one of the ones, you had a song that was called Big Brother. Mm-hmm. And there was a video for that, and it was very post-apocalyptic. Where did you find all that to put together, like to piece that together? Like how did you even come up with this? Where do you find this stuff? Might be a secret.
Well, the Big Brother, the name, that whole song was kind of inspired by that old book, 1984.
George Orwell?
Yes. Oswell?
I think it's Orwell.
Orwell, yeah, that's it.
I could look it up.
There are many similarities in that book to things that are happening now, with the surveillance and the thought police, and everybody's going crazy about all the social media censorship and all those types of things. I just felt like it was a good fit, kind of a comparison. So I was looking for video content, because a lot of the stuff on the videos, I don't make myself. It's most of it is, what do they call it? Like copyright free. It's
open source. Yeah. Royal. Yeah. Kind of like, it's like YouTube free music or something. Yeah.
And the only bad thing with those is sometimes it's very hard to find exactly what you're trying to express in the video with that. And a lot of times they're only like 10, 15 second, 20-second clips. So when you're trying to piece together a bunch of 20-second clips like that to make a 5-minute, 6-minute song, it's really tough to find everything. So a lot of times I'll also just scour YouTube for other people's stuff. And then I ran across this, and if I find something I like, if it's listed as, if the copyright on it is, if they published it using, what do they call that? Daggone it. It's right on the tip of my tongue. It's fair use.
Yes.
If it's fair use, it's educational. So a lot of my videos are kind of like documentaries, so I can kind of get away with that a little bit.
Yep.
Fair use. It's being used for an educational purpose or whatever.
Yep.
And so I'll look for things like that. And then, I usually reach out to them if they have any kind of copyright on there and ask if I can use it. I'm not going to change the meaning of it or anything like that. It's going to be just what you did, just put music to it. And never had a problem doing that. But that's usually where I get the videos from, and a lot of times there'll be different sources and then I'll piece them together. But Big Brother in particular was and I put it in the comments, but it was a movie. It was like a pilot for a movie that somebody in college was trying to put together, and it hadn't gone anywhere yet. I guess I think it was Fox or one of the big movie publishing companies had purchased it or whatever, but it's not gone into production, and that's not actually going to be the movie. It was just, like I said, just like a pilot for it. So yeah, it was no problem to use it, and it worked perfect for what I wanted to do. So, but usually I've got a couple videos where I play, especially if I'm doing a collab with somebody else or they're on the song. Usually it'll be us just playing guitar. But if it's just me by myself, I try to put some kind of theme to it. So it's, I don't know, not boring, just watching me sit here by myself play on every single song. So
one thing that I really liked about the Big Brother video is that after I was done watching that and listening to it, I kind of left with a feeling or a mood, which a guitar playthrough probably isn't going to do. And I think that's what stuck out about that, and what sticks out about the kind of video content that you are putting out. Now, I know it takes a long time to put together. It's not my style of things. A lot of mine, if I'm doing a music video or something, I try to have like a playthrough, or try to actually go out and do things. So it's a different style, and I think in a sense it does stick out. Obviously, like, you've gotten good at it. So what are you using to edit your videos?
Well, videos, mixing, everything. That album will be the last one that I make on an iPad, because that's what I've been using for ever since I got started with home recording. Which, when I bought that iPad, I'd been doing a lot of research, and I was very familiar with iOS for the most part. And, I'd seen videos of, other people had done this or that. And I thought, well, that's the way to go. And I was trying to just create what everybody does now, where you just have a home studio, but you can basically record silently and not disturb everybody in the house. And but if I could go back and do it all over again, I would have never gone the iPad route. There's a lot of videos out there where they talk about starter home studio gear and cheap stuff, and nobody ever mentions an iPad, and it's good that they don't. Because it can be done. I'm glad that I was able to overcome it and make some cool stuff with it, but it's very difficult, because what you end up having to do to be able to get a quality recording, unless you're making rap or things like that, because you can use a lot of loops and things, but if you're actually recording and trying to make rock or metal, it's very limited as to what you're going to find app-wise on there that actually even sounds good. I never could find drums that I thought sounded good. Now, you could use a live drummer and it's going to sound great, but as far as programming drums yourself, there's nothing like a MIDI where you can do a piano roll, any of that type of thing. And you have to end up getting a multitude of apps that will all work together. So you'll finish part of what you're doing in one app, and then you'll have to send it to another app or send it to Dropbox and then open it in another app to be able to carry on what you're doing. Whereas on a computer, you just do everything in one thing most of the time. Program. You
must be the most patient person in home recording in the U.S.
Well,
maybe North America, maybe the planet. You're determined.
I had the thing already, and I realized kind of quickly that I'd done it wrong. But then it was like, hell, I'm already, over $1,000 into this. I'm not just going to say, oh, mistake. I'm going to make it work somehow. And then once I figured out what I was doing, more or less, and it wasn't sounding bad, then I stuck with it probably longer than I should have, just out of familiarity with it and not wanting to change and have to start all over again. So, but I finally have upgraded from the iPad, and I moved on to the new M1 Mac Mini, and I got the 16 gig version with plenty of RAM storage and everything. And it's been an adjustment, but not quite as scary as I thought it was going to be. It's not like having to relearn everything I thought I knew at all. I got Logic, and it's similar to GarageBand, because on the iPad, I would usually record into GarageBand, but mixing in GarageBand, for one thing, GarageBand on iOS is totally different than GarageBand on your Mac. It's like a stripped down version. So there's even less that you can do on the iPad version. But I would record into GarageBand because it was very easy to track into, and to cut a section if you needed to, or make adjustments. And then once I got done with that stuff, I would send it to all the stems individually to Dropbox. And then I would take it from Dropbox and open it in a program called Aria Pro, which to me, that is the only program on an iPad that you can actually mix a song in, because that you can use different plugins where you can't really on GarageBand. Like, you have access to FabFilter plugins on Aria and things like that. So, but yeah, I don't have to deal with any of that now. It's just now that I'm with using Logic on the computer, I don't have all the plugins that I used to use before. Like, I spent a bunch of money on the computer and the monitor and Logic and some other things. Gojira, found some good soft amp sims I wanted to use. And, I need to also get, I don't need the FabFilter plugins, but I just really like them. And I've used them now for a few years. But that's a few $100 more. It's just a money pit.
I know all about this money pit. I'm building a new PC right now, and I don't know if I should really get into that one, but it is a huge money pit. So you got the Gojira plugin, and this is probably your first experience with Neural DSP at this point, then, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And what did you think right off the bat?
It's incredible, because the best thing I had to work with on the iPad was their iOS version of Bias FX. They have several, they have a multitude of amp sim guitar things that you can, but that was by far the best one, the most versatile one that I found, in the highest sound quality. So the Neural stuff is light years above what I was doing on the iPad.
Oh yeah.
And I got all the free trial 14-day thing that you get for all the different Neural DSP programs. And I was playing with all of them, and I mean, they're all good. They're all good. But for me, it seemed like the Gojira, even though it's advertised kind of as being the heaviest one, but it's also, in a way, the most versatile one, because it seemed to me like it came with, other than Plini, it came with more pedals than a lot of the other ones. You've got 3 different amps on there that you can tweak to whatever you want them to be. So, I mean, yeah, it can get brutal, but it doesn't have to be. There's also fantastic clean tones on Gojira. So I still plan to get Plini. I was this close. It was really tough. It was between Plini and Gojira for me. So I went with Gojira, and I'm still going to get Plini.
I'm pretty sure Ola England uses the Plini in a lot of his Sunday with Olas and stuff. I bought Plini mostly because I was a member there, and I was talking to them one day. Said, "Listen, these are on sale. What do you recommend?" He says, "Go with the Plini." And I mostly bought the Neural DSP plugin. I have a couple of them. I have Dark Glass and that. Those are the ones I own, and I've used the Nameless once, but not at my own place. I think I used Gojira once, but not on my computer. And I have the NTS, but I got the Plini, and mostly have those there if somebody sends me DIs or something, because I'm a Kemper user. So you don't just put the tone on like you do with a plugin. You got a DI, just, here, I'll throw that in the effects and we're good to go. I have to reamp the whole thing if I was to do that. Now, I use the Kemper almost all the time. So it's nice to just have some plugins that work. I will tell you one that is really good for dirt cheap. It's the Audio Assault Sigma. That thing is killer, and it's way less. It's not near as versatile as like Gojira. Gojira has some really cool presets, and one thing with neural DSPs, they always come with really good presets. I'll tell you another good one. It's not for metal. The Corey Wong plugin. I remember some of the metal guys like, oh man, it can't be boring. I don't like this. And it's just like, I wanted to hear more chugs. And of course, they were a little upset. But I downloaded that and used that for 2 weeks. Immaculate. It was killer. I don't just play metal, and I like having the different tones and trying different things. And I think any metal guy should try out some of these different tones and stuff, because it'll change the way you play. I play the tones, and so it's worth getting some of these things, whether you're strictly metal or not. And I am not strictly metal, even though once you start playing metal, you're lumped into it. That's just how it goes. You know what I'm saying? You say you listen to metal once, and the only thing you like is that headbanging music. You know, you only like that stuff with screaming, and screaming doesn't take any talent, according to people. But try these other things because they're versatile. You can do a lot of stuff with them. I think that had some bass tones. But yeah, these days, which is what is really good in recording, is that if you can't afford a good piece of hardware, you can literally get the cheapest interface. And even if you bought one of those neural DSP plugins at full price, you could have one of the most amazing sounding tones on your computer for dirt. Compared to having to buy, a stack, mic it up, do all that stuff. You can have amazing tone right there. I'm still a fan of having a speaker cab in the room. I got a cab last year, and I've been running my Kemper through that when I'm not recording. I pretty much play through that. There's still something about that vintage 30 sound that I really like in the room. But for recording, I mean, I'm just using whatever in the Kemper for the IRs. I've been using the Bogren Digital Signature IR pack, the Rhythm one. Those are good. I've demoed those with the Kemper and with the Audio Assault Sigma. Do you know Resington? Do you know,
I know the name?
Okay, well, he's a guy on YouTube, and he does all plugin stuff, and he made an IR pack, and I want to do a video with that too, just to try his out and see how those sound. He sent them to me a few days before he released them, and he said, "Don't make a video till then." I'm like, I don't have time to do all these videos so quick. We have a life. Like, this is the weekend for us. I do these whenever I can get the time to do them, whether it's a weekday or it's a weekend. I think this is the first time No, it's not the first time I've done one on a weekend, but it's kind of one of those things. So it's really tough. But one of these days I'm going to try those out because I have them. I think, some CCAL ones as well. Man, since you just got to the computer, there's a whole world of things. My tip for people, find something that works and run with it. You will tinker and tweak all day because you'll spend more time tweaking than you will playing and writing.
Well, and that's my biggest thing is some people love that, they're addicted to that. They're always tone chasing. They love just constantly playing with it. And I'm just not that way. I like to find something that is pretty versatile so that it does many things and does them well. And then I will find the sound that I like for the most part. I'll get it dialed in. A lot of times I'll start with a preset just because it's 80% there. And then I'll tweak it a little bit, and then I save it, and that's it. I'll go to that same tone all the time, and I'll save, the clean tone that I like, and the distorted tone that I like, and the solo tone that I like, and then I'm good to go. I'm not a tone chaser. I mean, I know what I like. I've got my own sound, I think, that is similar no matter what I'm using, whether it be an amp or a plug-in, but I don't really change. I lucky for me, because it's probably saved me a lot of money, that I've never got into the tone chasing thing or the pedal addiction. I've never, in all the years I've played, I only have my pedal boards down there, which I hardly ever use anymore, but it's got like 6 pedals on it, and 5 maybe if you don't count the tuner. So
you're not going to get into a big 100 fuzz pedal collection or something like that.
No.
Be like, this fuzz is for this fuzz is for that. The fuzz pedal collectors, man, they're another level. They want all of them. And I mess with the fuzz tone sometimes. I did make a performance on my Kemper, which performance is when I have I can have like 5 or 6 slots and have you clean your crunch to your lead, all that kind of stuff. And I had one where it's like, okay, this one's going to be this, some dirty amp, and this one we're going to add a fuzz to it. The side of me still likes Doom. And so it's kind of fun to do that, but I'm not really a Doom player per se. Right. Although I just did listen to some Candlemass right before this. You know who I mean? Man, they were awesome. Song I could say it wrong. I think it's called Samaritan or something. And Bewitched. Oh, Bewitched is like the best video. It's so corny. It's great. I don't think they actually took themselves that seriously, but man, the cheese of that video. If they were taking it seriously, I don't know if they could. Messiah or whatever he went by. He's just the whole thing. It's amazing. If you ever watched that video, look up Bewitched. It's great because he takes control of the whole town. That's amazing. And but yeah, plugins and all that stuff. Fun time. I got one last question before we move on. What did you have to plug into an iPad, just in case somebody still wanted to use an iPad, which you don't recommend? No, what did you do?
I don't necessarily. Yeah, I was maybe a little harsh. I shouldn't say, because the iPad is perfect for certain genres of music. Like if you were had aspirations of being a YouTube rapper or something like that, which most of the guys in my town do.
I think most towns.
Yeah.
Local rappers, man.
The iPad's going to work fine because you can get all kinds of quality sounding hip hop beats that are kind of pre-mixed. You're not going to have to do much to them. They're just loops, in there that you can rap to. So it's good for a lot. It was just a lot of work trying to do metal and rock with it. But what I started out with is I got an iPad Pro. It was the first generation, so it was a 2015, I think. And when I got it, there were not very many interfaces that would work with an iPad. Now there's multiple. Most of them do. But at the time, there were only a couple, and I wanted to get, obviously the best one I could. So I ended up getting an Apogee Duet, which then was like $550. Now I think it's like $599.
I'd go broke in Canada. Yeah.
So that was probably the most expensive, other than the iPad itself. That the interface was the most expensive thing. And then I got the JBL LS5 monitors, which obviously run in the interface. I saw you do an interview with Gio. I think he runs the same monitors that I ended up getting. But
I forget what he has, but yeah.
They're a $300 set of monitors, so they're cheap, but they sound fantastic. So pretty nice flat signal. So yeah, I'm still using those. They're great monitors. Outside of that, I mean, that was the start of it. Then I bought a set of Bear Dynamic, the 770s. I got those. So that was the whole start of it. The iPad, the interface, the 770s, and the monitors. And then from there, it was just figuring out how to use everything. The first recordings I did on, God, they're so terrible. So terrible. I didn't know anything about EQ. I didn't know anything about anything.
Dude, I didn't know mastering. I didn't know what it was.
Right. I'm watching YouTube videos to try to learn, or asking a friend of mine. This is actually, his name's Ian. He lives in Tennessee. This is his solo project. It's really good. And he'd been at it for a while and is really high quality mixer and does really nice production on his stuff. So I'm hitting him up all the time, asking the questions too. But there's only so much you can really answer without being in the room and seeing what somebody's doing,
Yep, exactly.
Then even when he give me answers, it's like, I don't know the language yet. So I don't even know what the hell he's telling me. Oh, is that your compressor? Compressor, what do you mean compressor? Oh, what type are you running parallel compression? And you need to side chain your kick to the, it was blowing my mind. I was so frustrated in the beginning. I was ready to just the hell with this. I'm not doing it. But
the thing is that it's not normal people talk on the street. People don't think about music production. They don't think about video production. Even for the most part, most of us are consumers of it. We just happen to be also creating it. We all want to listen to it. That's why you don't devalue artists, because it matters. But like these things, like there's so much to it. People don't realize how much there is into doing music. And then if you're trying to perform all this stuff, like playing guitar solos and stuff, like I don't want to piece things together in a DAW, like in little bits. Like I try to do as much as I can in a take, and I might go through that like 20 times to get it right because they get super picky. People don't realize how much effort after you record it and how all the production, just for nobody to listen to it. And when they do, they use little earbuds or they use this thing just to listen to it. And then you know what they tell you? I can't hear the bass. And I got one quick question before we move on.
Sure.
In Vase, this is his project. Does he have like a picture of a flower for the for his like logo or something? Like, is it flower power that he called himself? Like, because the only thing that's in a vase should be flowers, right?
No. No, it's I'm not really positive where he got the vase part. It's in Vase.
I see vase. Maybe I'm reading wrong. Whoops.
It's pronounced in Vase, I think. But his name is Ian, and then the Vase part, and I think I don't know where he came up with the name, but the music's sick. So
that's awesome. I'll have to check it out. So I guess everybody check out In Vase. I might have it might not. I think he just caught me in a really stupid moment, but I was literally thinking this the whole time. But hey, whatever. I didn't profess to be smart here. Alrighty. So next up, you're a YouTuber. I'm a YouTuber. We all very much know the struggle of being a YouTuber.
Right.
Is that since we've just talked about all the effort to go through putting all this together. You do a whole song, whole video. You spend all the time getting it out there. And then about a handful of people watch it. Mm-hmm. It is awful sometimes. And it depends what it is. Because sometimes you have that like winning moment, where all of a sudden everybody showed up. Right. Everybody. It was it was super, super cool. Like my first premiere, Ola England showed up to it. Like that premiere on YouTube is when you premiere the video, so everybody watches it at the same time. And I really appreciate that he actually did that. First time I had 20 some people show up. I'm like, man, this is amazing. And the video I think has like 600 or 700 views, maybe not quite 700. And it was a lot of effort in that song. And it's on Spotify and all that kind of stuff. And that's really hard to get like original music out there, like at least in YouTube and Spotify and all that stuff. So have you had any struggles with that, do you find?
Just similar things of, what you're saying, which I know what song you're talking about. That was a great song.
Thank you.
Yeah. I've listened to it multiple times. I've listened to it on Spotify and I've watched it on YouTube a few times. I didn't make the premiere. I didn't work. But I watched it the same day. But yeah, you did have a really good turnout for that, which was awesome. Because it was the first song that you'd done in a while, I think, when you came out with that one.
Oh, yeah.
A long time since original. So, yeah, that was cool. Yeah, for me, like when I started my channel, it makes it even more sad how many subs I have considering when I started my YouTube channel, because it was like 2012. And
mine's 7.
431 subs now. But when I first started that channel, it was zero effort. I wasn't really trying to be a YouTuber as much as I was just using it as a place to upload stuff that I'd done and make it like a collection, like a portfolio of time. That was my original intent for it. And, when I started, obviously I didn't have any recording gear. It was just cell phone recorded acoustic stuff, mainly acoustic covers every once in a while and things like that. But then once I got the iPad and I was going to get serious about writing my own songs, and you got all these big dreams. then the plan was, well, I'm going to put my music on YouTube and make it like a band type page, which I did that for a while too. I still use it for that. It wasn't really though until last year that I decided that I was going to maybe do a little like a show type thing on YouTube, and that was kind of inspired by Ola England, watching his videos, and some of you other guys that I talk to all the time from YouTube, your videos, and I thought, well, maybe it'll give me some more content, and it'll be fun to do. Just be a little bit off of I usually make music, but I also have this little sideshow.
Yep.
And I learned real quick, just like I did with the home studio and mixing, that there was a lot more involved with making videos like that than you would ever even consider or think about our guests. And it's even harder doing like the Metal Cave thing, which is what the show's called, Metal Cave.
Yep.
But it's even harder doing videos where you're doing all the talking, or you're doing in that show, it's kind of acting. It's not my real voice, and there's costumes at the end and crap like that. But then it is like the music videos where I find all this. The music videos are kind of more like art. I pick all these things, and that's my words, because I don't have lyrics. So I've got to find these things that make my words, but they're already done, and I'm just piecing it together and making it fit to the music correctly and things like that. When you do, an actual YouTube video where you're talking and you're trying to be entertaining, and, especially like with me, I only have one camera. So I have to zoom in, zoom out, do different things to make it interesting, because I don't have multi-camera shots. And, to make a 15-minute long video, the editing in that is hours and hours all day. Yeah. It's crazy. All the things that you have to consider that I would have never thought about in terms of lighting. Like when I built this studio, I made everything so dark. And it's because I like it's relaxing to me to be in a darker room.
Yep.
And, black's badass. It's my favorite color. Most of my shirts are black. I made everything black. I made the ceiling black. It's just all black and wood.
Is your coffee black?
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
I like
everything. Cool.
Life's black.
And so you live the true Cavalt life. You were saying about the lighting and all that kind of stuff there too. Actually, what I did, you can't really see it here super well in this, but one of the things that made my videos look better is when I put Philips Hue bulbs in. They're kind of expensive, and then I could change all the colors of the app on my phone. And I thought, oh, I'll do it for videos, and I love it just like for regular every night being down here, because a lot of times I use dimmer lights. Like you said, like you like it. It's kind of nice to not have everything bright. Now I've got a light over here just to keep this old webcam looking decent and stuff. So I just set that up one of my video lights for now. But like I've got 4 bulbs in the ceilings. I got hue bars, like the play bars, what they're called over here. And I even have some light strips that I turn on from time to time as well. So you see those in the videos. It makes everything look just better. So one thing I started to do in my videos too is I have a Nikon Z6 camera, and it shoots in 4K. So I started working in 4K, and you find out how much processing power you need to work with 4K. Right. And just to make a video, it's not a cheap hobby. It's a very rewarding hobby though. Like I feel very good when I'm doing these cool videos. It's funny because the production for this kind of video isn't really that high. Right. But for doing something like this is really fun. And this, and one of the things, if you're going to do YouTube, anybody wanting to do YouTube, doesn't matter what, you need to have fun doing it, and you need to switch things up once in a while. Ola England took, I don't know if he takes crap for it, but he started doing Sunday with Ola because FAQs got boring. Right. Now, you can say whatever you want about Sunday with Ola, but for him, he needs to do something fresh. And one of the things I'm liking about doing these like interviews, podcast kind of thing, is that I get to actually interact with my YouTube friends. That it's usually just a text message. Right. I actually get to talk to people, and it's fun. I'm having fun just doing this right now. It's on top of this content, but then I get to collab with somebody. Maybe a very simple way, but you get to have a conversation, you get to share it and stuff too. And this isn't as much work. It's a little bit time consuming. It's not as much work as some of the other stuff. But if I'm going to do like a music video, look out, that's going to take hours. And I try to, when I'm doing YouTube, I try to do things once a week. I'd like to have a video. That is hard. And what people don't realize, if you got a full-time job and you're doing everything yourself, like I do, like everything, you pay all your own bills, okay? And that's not a big deal as long as you're making money, you know? But it's the time that everything takes. Right. You have to like, I can't just jump into videos afterwards. And you get one thing that messes that week up. You might not have content. Right. You might not have something that next week. And one of the things is that, I don't know for you, but I find it like a lot of people say they get like dopamine hits from seeing Facebook likes. I don't care about that anymore. For the most part, I don't care. I just like to see that people liked what the big thing I made. Worst thing is I would get a ton of likes on like if I posted a picture of me going, and they'd be like, ha, 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 and they would all do that. And it's the algorithms and stuff. It's not necessarily people's fault in this case. It's algorithms that we fight with. But for me, seeing the subscribers go up, like I had last week, I think it went up about 11 or more. And I had one video that did really good on solar guitars and stuff. Turns out it's a hot topic right now. And my video was positive and still like, it didn't get like, I obviously didn't go viral, but it got about 500 views. For a person like me, it's pretty good for not pushing it super hard. Right. Before I knew it, it had 100 views and people, I think instantly it was like 2 subs, and over the course of about like a day or two, also there's like up like 10, 11 subs just from that video because it was relevant. They liked what I was doing. The analytics may not be good after a little bit, but still people are watching it and doing stuff. But it's a struggle to get out there just to make all this stuff. And then when you're making it, people want more of it. Right. And physically, like you mentally and physically, sometimes you just cannot always do it. Sometimes you need to just chill out. And for me, sometimes when you do videos, and this is it's a weird balance because I go back and forth on this, that a break for me sometimes is just playing guitar for the sake of playing guitar. Yeah. And you should actually, if you are a music YouTuber, guitar YouTuber like me, you are, sometimes it's just to play guitar. Mm-hmm. I consider that if I've played guitar all evening, that is productive. Even if I've put out nothing that gets me nowhere, because at the end of the day, I still have to act like I can play good. Even though I'm not a great player, other people say the opposite. Sometimes, I have my bad days too. There's times where I'm doing things, I'm like, man, you start recording, you find out how bad you are. You're like, oh, damn, that sounds horrible. Or that's not working well, but you get better at it. And I enjoy that. But for me, and I feel with your video quality too, I like editing videos. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Do you like editing videos? I would say the side of you does.
It's a lot of fun. It takes a lot of time, like I was saying, and there's things I've learned, just like with the iPad thing. You know, you kind of learn as you go. Mm-hmm. You do the best you can on making the decisions about what you purchase, and then once you have it, there's just a ton to learn about how to actually use it. You know, and make the best of it. And so, like I was saying with the dark room, like now I realize, even though I love it, it was kind of a mistake again, because it makes it harder to make your video not fuzzy. You know, I still struggle with that, and lighting. Now, granted, I still have not invested in more professional type of lights. You know, I just put more lights around the room, and I've got like a little type of spotlight thing up here now that kind of shines on me, but I don't have the soft box lighting that I need to. But maybe I should get it at some point for this room. But what I always fight, and some of the early Metal Cave videos look awful because I didn't know anything about that, and I was also trying to use my widescreen lens on my camera, not knowing that for some reason that was a lower video quality than your normal. So, you know, I would get all this fuzz and the black curtains and then the black walls. And so I still fight that all the time with this room. But, you know, once you get the video done, and they've gotten better, the more I've learned, they continue to get better the more you learn. But the editing part, once you finally shot it all, It is, like you said, it's very fun. It's time consuming, but it's fun. And I still do all that on my phone, which I don't know why I'm doing that, because I just bought this screen and all this stuff. It's just old habits are hard to break, I guess. I don't know. Or I can go upstairs and when we're going to bed, you know, my wife goes right to sleep. I usually can't get to sleep until 12 or 1, and I'll lay there for hours. I'll just edit the video on my phone. But it takes a lot of time, but it ends up being fun. The main thing that is difficult with the videos is if you're going to add any type of effects, or there's different things you're going to do to help improve the image on the screen, or you're putting in, you know, like some of my videos, there's stuff to make it comical. You know, there might be smoke or fire or things like that. You know, getting all that right, and then syncing up the audio with the video. Sometimes that's the most time-consuming thing. I've learned little tricks other people have done, like even Ola's clap. A lot of people do a little clap like that, and it probably helps him sync up the audio with the video when he does things like that.
So if you've got something like Premiere Pro, it's good to have this too, especially if you're doing collabs. And there's a mistake I made in the last one. It's even having like those 4 snare hits going like do, 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 do. And because you can see the waveform that now in Premiere Pro, if I had a separate wave file, then I have my camera audio. Almost all my audio is not baked into the video. I have a separate file, and I can literally highlight it and click synchronize, and it goes boop.
That's beautiful.
Into place, and it was like a game changer. The problem is Premiere Pro is very, very expensive.
Right.
But when you're putting out a lot of content, it's worth it. I'm close to monetization, so maybe I'll get enough to buy a coffee one of these days. But you know what I'm saying? Like it's one of the things though I do like about video editing is that I can see my work coming together. You can see it. You can see your progress, and it's very satisfying to see. Even sometimes videos that didn't do that great, it's still satisfying to watch. Like, man, I accomplished something with this. And it takes a lot of doing to get good at it. Now, I've seen people, some people I know in person. It could be like a makeup thing or anything else. And like, I literally, there was this girl that I know, and I don't really know her super well now, but she said, "Hey, check out my video." And what happens a lot of times you say, "I'll check out my video," blah, blah, blah. People don't know you. They assume they're going to get some junk. And I'm like, right off the bat, you're editing everything, your presentation, your personality on screen, everything was great. I'm like, I mean, I don't understand what's happening here.
Right.
But I was like, man, that girl's talented. Like, damn, like I was not that good off the bat. And it takes a lot. And one thing I have to say, I like after listening to you, I don't know if you maybe not realize this yourself, but instead of you sitting around doing research and never doing it, you just started doing it.
Yeah.
And when you just start doing it, you might make something that's just low quality production, the whole works, but you did it. And the main thing is when you actually the main thing people, they spend too much time thinking, what if I do this? Well, I can't do this till I get bigger. I can't do this. Just do it. And if you're going to ask people questions, just ask questions. If there's somebody that's bigger than you and you want them to do something with you, just ask. You're probably going to get a no, but you don't know that for sure. You know what I'm saying? Right. So just do the best you can, because like when I see like guys like you playing guitar and different things, like different people, I'm like, man, they're so good at it. It's like, man, that's awesome. Just do it. Okay. Either way, I thought like you were going to say something, but I had another topic.
Oh, what was I going to say? I guess the only other thing I was going to say was, you know, what we already said, you know, you learn as you go, you get better with everyone. And I was going to refer back to what you were saying with like content. The one thing I found in trying to grow my channel more is that consistency seems to be pretty important.
It is.
I do get more subs every time I put a video up, but I'm not very consistent with putting videos up because of the time it takes. And truthfully, I enjoy making the show. I really do. But I enjoy making music far more. and it's hard for me to do both because, you know, you go to work and I've got family and all those things. So during the week, I don't generally get hardly anything done with being in this room. So it's on the weekend. And if I have to choose between I'm in the middle of writing a song or I'm working with somebody else on making a song, if it's a choice between getting something done with that or making a metal cave, I just always pick the song, making the song, you know? So that's why I've slowed it down, because when I first started, I was trying to do a metal cave every week. And it was just like, this is impossible. I just can't do it, because it would take me all weekend long from Friday to Sunday to shoot it, edit the whole video, finish it, and then upload it. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to do this. So now the goal is just one a month, which I don't think that's going to build a lot of subs quickly for me. But I'm just really not that worried about that. I mean, I'd love that. I'm kind of like you. I mean, I love the subs and I love people to watch, but a lot of it I'm doing is just because I like doing it. And
exactly,
you know, so when I put it up there, if a lot of people watch it, that's great. And the subs will come over time. I don't care about slow growth. It's fine.
As soon as you start hating what you're doing, it becomes a job.
Exactly.
Because for me, doing this is fun. Like this, to me, I'm having fun. I still like making videos. Even if I quit YouTube, like doing whatever kind of reviews or talking or doing something today, I would still be making music videos and I would still be writing music.
Right.
That would not change. I would still be doing all that. I don't know where YouTube's going to be down the road, but I'll still be doing that, because that's why we started. It was to play music, and we started because it was fun. I did videos. It just seemed like it was, to me, videos were a natural progression for me, okay? To do this kind of thing, to perform, to talk, is something that I can naturally kind of do. Now, I've had to obviously work on learning how to present and stuff. And talking to somebody like you at the same time is a lot easier than sitting here by myself talking. And I'll give people a tip. If they're going to talk by themselves to a camera, call a family member, anything first, and talk for a few minutes. Warm up. Just talk to them about their day or whatever, and then shoot the video. Go on Discord, voice chat, whatever. Just talk to somebody, whether it's, I don't know, person at the mailbox or whatever. Do that.
It's weird. It's kind of the same thing like when you're tracking a song. You could have played it 100 times perfect before you hit that red record button.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, the dumbest stuff starts happening. You're making the dumbest mistakes you would have never made. Yep. It's the same thing making a video, you know? It's like you got it all kind of planned out in your head, what you're going to, you know, maybe not word for word, but you have the gist of the flow of how it's going to go. And then you hit record and you sit there and your mind goes blank and you're like,
yep.
Anymore.
It's like, so guys, if you like this kind of content, you could, you know, like subscribe and, okay, so, hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Brian Bauer. Today, I'm going to be talking to both exactly. And then I get up and I hit the record button to stop it and blah, blah, blah. It's tough.
I stopped doing that because I was getting up over and over, stopping the video. And now it's just like, you know what? I'm just going to let it roll. And if this takes 40 minutes, whatever, I'll go back in. I'll cut the pieces out that are bad.
I try to cut it down. Sometimes you end up with like 15 minutes of stuff. Then I have to figure out, okay, what to cut out, what not. What I do is I write things down, and I don't mean type it on the computer. Writing things down on a piece of paper will help you remember better. I don't think we can get over that physical thing, at least for me. That's just what I'm used to. Now, we were talking about subs and slow growth and stuff, but you've obviously had some successes because you have a handful of endorsers, or you endorse at least a few companies, and namely those are Solar, Chicken Picks, and Skull Strings, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And so how did you get involved with Solar guitars as an artist?
More through music than my YouTube channel. I mean, my YouTube channel has been kind of a plus because I have a window of helping advertise or whatever to talk about the brands that I represent. But it was mainly, it started off with going to NAMM. When I went to NAMM, I actually wasn't endorsed by anybody. There was a company that was doing they had came up with a piece of technology for acoustic guitars. It's just this brass. It's not really new technology. It's the old brass bell type of idea where you get that in the sound hole and in the bridge, and like the tuning, the pins that hold the string into the bridge. If you make some of those things brass, it seems to resonate and give your guitar a little bit brighter chime.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were going to have a booth at NAMM, and they needed some players. And a friend of mine, Rex Briones, he knew them personally, and knew that they were looking for some people to play acoustic at their booth at certain hours. So he ended up getting a hold of me. He said, "Hey, you want to go to NAMM?" And I'm like, I thought he was joking around. I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, man, you can go to NAMM if you want to go this year. And all you have to do is," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to figure it out, whatever I got to do to get there." So I did, I went there, and I had to play at their booth, so many times during the day. But outside of that, I got to walk around with Rex and a lot of the other guys that were part of the Ola England Facebook group and the Discord and things. All those guys, we'd meet up. We'd all go look around at different things. And Rex introduced me to Skull Strings. I went to their booth, which I'd never used them at that point before. And Rex jokingly had said, "This guy can play," or whatever, which was not, I'm like you. I don't think I can play, but he said, "Oh, this guy can play." He's like, you need to get him on your roster here." Cause they had a big board, of the people that they have endorsed or whatnot. And so they gave me a set of strings to take home and try them out. And then I was in contact with them later after I tried them, and they're great. They're great strings, Skull Strings. I had used NYXLs forever.
Yep, that's what I use now.
Yeah, I love those strings. I like the sound, and they would last a long time. And I was so used to playing strings that had a coating on them that I pretty much forgot what it felt like for strings to not have that coating on there. And so the Skull Strings are not coated. They felt great. And then I was amazed after a few months, I still was like seeing no signs of rust on my strings. They lasted as long, if not longer, than my NYXLs, cheaper. And I was just, you know what? Yeah, I would love to. So I contacted them back and said, "Yeah, I love the strings, and I'd love to be a part of what you're doing and help represent and advertise for the brand and spread awareness." And they're like, "Great." So that was my first endorsement. And it really just came through being introduced to somebody I hadn't met, and just opportunities. And that the main thing for me is I've been playing music for a long time, off and on. There's been times where I put my guitar down for years.
Oh, wow.
I mean, honestly, I probably started playing guitar or got a guitar, electric guitar, when I was 16, maybe, and never took lessons or anything, and it was never serious. So I probably didn't really get serious about trying to really play it until I was almost 18, 17, somewhere in there, probably 17. And then, there were periods of time throughout there where I'd stop playing. I would guess that out of the whole time I've been playing, I'm 41 now. From 17 when I got serious, is probably a span of 5 to 10 years out of there, if I total it all up together, that I just wasn't playing at all. Well, maybe not like 5 years, say. But anyway, I was have been playing for a long time, and I played with a cover band for a really long time, playing bars and clubs and all that. And really within the last couple years of recording at home and doing songs at home and meeting people online, more has happened for me in the last couple years because of that than ever happened playing live. Now, I love playing live, and there's a lot to be said about the memories of the guys you play with and all the fun you had and stories to tell. But I mean, as far as like, I don't know, just saying getting somewhere as a musician, I mean, I don't really want to make it like I'm getting famous or anything, but I just mean accomplishments that have happened for me as a musician. Most of those have happened in the last couple of years, and it's way more than has happened playing, clubs for people that just want to have a good time and dance.
It's the truth, man. It's the internet's where it's at these days. And since this pandemic, it's been more like that than ever. I remember hearing saying like, listen, people are going to need to be online more than playing shows. And it's like, yeah, whatever. And all of a sudden one day it was just like, bang.
Right.
That was it. That's where the world went. It's not 100% there, but it's not going to go back the other way. Right. People don't go to shows. They're always that joke. People don't go to shows, but people are on the internet. So you just got to get their eyes over there. It's not easy to do by any stretch, but the thing is with doing this internet thing is that instead of waiting for the next show or the next thing is that we have Instagram, we have these things. And even if you're not that big on Instagram, and this has been proven time again with our friends like Lee, other people like Rex, all these people, Robin Flink, the whole works of these guys, like, is that any second you could have a DM request. It's different. Or you have one comment. And for me, that one comment was for one day I noticed Stone Age pics like my video. And I went out on a limb and said, I would demo one of your pics or something. I'd love to try one. He said, send me a message. Next thing you know, we're talking about doing a video together. Yeah. And still, Matt is the first guy who ever took me seriously in that sense, that I wanted to work with, like in something, even though it was a little thing. And I used different pics and stuff, not just those and whatnot. And before, it starts to snowball these little things. Now, I haven't had any contact like that in a little while. I had an opportunity to fall through instead. But any time that can happen, and when you're putting something out, is that people are consuming 24/7, not just Friday night at their local bar, and they're not necessarily drunk sitting there doing that. People that are looking for our stuff a lot of times might care a little bit more about that topic, where the people going to the bar watching the cover band, they want to get drunk, they want to dance, they want to have fun, they want to play, and they want to hear Wonderwall.
Right, exactly. It's a totally different thing.
And and you're with Solar Guitars right now. What Solar guitar model are you using?
Well, I don't think that they're even making this one anymore. It's a G, but it's it's the one that is flat. It doesn't have the arch. It's
the Swedish Les Paul with the Floyd Rose.
Yeah.
I love it. It fits you.
So I got this. So that's funny. I mean, the Solar thing kind of started at NAMM also. Mm-hmm. So I met Skull Strings, and then, that developed after getting home from NAMM. That was, a little bit later that turned into them saying, well, sure, if you like the strings, and we'd love to have you. And which was awesome, because I really did not have a huge following for them to say yes like that, and they took a shot on me. I've grown on a lot of my channels since then. Mm-hmm. A lot of other companies, they want you to have some type of a large footprint somewhere. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be everywhere, but at least one platform, you've got to have some type of a following, and maybe different minimums mm-hmm. for every company. I was intrigued by Solar Guitars before going to NAMM, but the big thing for me was the same thing I hear from a lot of guys in America or anywhere where Solars are not readily available to play. You can't just go to the store and pick one up. And so I was scared to make the purchase because, they look great. Everybody's saying great things, but that doesn't mean it's going to be great for me.
Bingo.
Lots of people love Ibanez's. I don't, it just doesn't feel.
I love Ibanez's, and other people come over, they pick them up, and it's just a no. But yeah.
Right. So I was nervous about making the purchase. And so when I went to NAMM, obviously I finally got to try one, because the Fortin booth and the Solar booth mm-hmm. were kind of shared. They were just side by side, and the crowd that would come in there, a lot of guys were picking up a Solar and they're playing through a Fortin amp and checking out. Well, that was the first time I got to try one. And for years before that, I'd been playing Schecter. Mm-hmm. So I've got a 6 and 7 string. I've had other Schecters I've gotten rid of, but the two I've kept have always been my favorite, and especially that red 6 string. And when I played the Solar, I don't know if it's because they were made in the same factory, but there were some similarities. The neck feel. Some of the Schecters have a really big ball bat type of neck.
I remember those very well.
Mine is not that way.
No,
but it's not super thin either. And so when I played the Solar, I was like, this is familiar. I think the Solar is still maybe a little bit different in diameter than the Schecter. It doesn't feel quite as fat, but the shape is just perfect for my hand. And honestly, I was sold on the guitar, but I really didn't get to even play it that well. That's the thing with NAMM, is it's cool. You get to check out a lot of gear. You get to meet and see a lot of cool people. It's a great place to hang out with your buddies that share an interest that you do in music. But in terms of actually getting to know what a product sounds like, or it's so freaking loud, and there's everybody moving around and they're all waiting. Even when you get to play something, you feel like, I got to hurry up and get out of here because this guy's waiting on me to finish so he can try it. And, so I really didn't even get to play through an amp and really appreciate how well the guitar sounded. I just know it felt great. Mm-hmm. So I'd seen so many good things. Now I was kind of reassured that, that they're right. I'm sure it's going to sound great. So then I was hell bent on getting one. And I think my wife got tired of me talking about them and showing her pictures of them. And she ended up surprising me with it.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I had a little bit of an idea because she had, how did that work out? I knew at some point, I can't remember how, but I knew that she had talked to Rex because she met Rex when we were at NAMM. She came too. She couldn't go to the festivities of the day.
Okay.
But she would go do her own thing all day, and then we would hang out at night. She got to meet Rex and knew I was there because of, Rex's connection with Liquid Sound Technologies, the acoustic thing. Yep. And so anyway, I found out somehow or another that she was talking to him about Solar guitars, like behind my back, a private conversation.
This is a good behind your back conversation.
Yeah.
This is what people should do.
I was suspicious that she was up to something, but then nothing really happened after that. And I thought, well, it's just wishful thinking. I'm thinking, she's going to get me one of these guitars or whatever. And then I was convinced that it wasn't happening. And then one day I came home and it was there laying in the box on the bed. And it was a B stock that I had wanted. I liked a bunch of them, but then I started thinking, well, maybe I can sell my wife if I find a cheaper one. Well, so then I find this B stock of the guitar that I liked, and, full price, this is one of the upper tier models, the 1.6.
Yep. And
it was a great price. Well, I didn't think that was happening either, but sure enough, that's what she got me, that and for being a B stock, to have the amount of money that was knocked off of it for being a B stock, and I get it. And the only thing wrong with the guitar, period, was at the very tip of the headstock right here, mm-hmm. which you probably can't even see. It was chipped. I took a black Sharpie marker, filled it in. You could feel it a little bit, but you're never going to see it hardly.
My beast, yeah.
It did. So it was unbelievable to get this quality of a guitar. And so anyway, I'm rambling on. But I finally got to play it at home, and then I realized, it sounds as good as it feels,
Yep.
I've seen a lot of people trade out the stock pickups, especially guys that are only metal focused. They want a little more bite or a higher
output pickup. Yeah. They want something with a little more gain to it. Yeah.
But for me,
I love them. I love them.
I dab in metal a little bit, but I wouldn't call myself really, I'm a metal-ish player. A lot of my songs, I think, are maybe more hard rock than they would be metal. Mm-hmm. I'm not a chugger, like chugging all the time. I do a lot of melodic stuff and things like that. So mm-hmm. They're perfect for me.
Yep.
I'm like with also like in the songs I like to have, it might be heavy for a while and then it slows down and it gets quiet and is soft and then it ramps back up. I mean, these pickups you can do just about any style well with.
Yep. I love them. I was just going to say, sorry. I'm cutting you off again.
Oh, that's all right. So anyway, then I'm like, so then I have several friends that are solar artists that I've met through Ola's channel and just being on Facebook in general and other guitar groups. And I'm like, man, I love this guitar so much. And I've never gotten instantly attached to a guitar like that. Like I'm attached to that red Schecter, but it's only because it's been through hell with me. It's been a workhorse. I've had it for years. But a lot of guitars have just came and went that I've had. I've had them. If I don't love them, then I'll get rid of them. But this just instantly became my favorite guitar. Now my Schecters just kind of sit there and collect dust. I feel bad for the red one because I take it out of the rack there to clean it up and oil the neck and stuff, and then I put it right back in the rack. I always reach for the solar first. So then I'm thinking, well, I'm on with Skull Strings, and I'd love to represent solar too, like my friends, because I just believe in the brand. That's the one thing with me is I was never like when the Skull Strings thing happened, I had no intention of going to NAMM looking for an endorsement. I just wanted to be there, and it kind of happened. And I've never been one that wanted to just I see some guys, and I'm not knocking anybody that does it, but I see some guys that it's like they're endorsed by every freaking thing. Mm-hmm. They have a pick endorsement, string endorsement, guitar endorsement, pickup endorsement, amp endorsement. And
toilet paper endorsement.
Yeah. Even if I had the clout to or a large following to get that many, I don't think that I would want that many because it would limit your freedoms. I just want, like how many, if you have an amp endorsement, you can't try all these other cool amps. I would feel like, or at least you couldn't have it shown on video that you're playing this other, So I just wanted ones that I really felt that I wouldn't mind not using something else. Like Skull Strings, it doesn't bother me at all to never use NYXL again or Ernie Ball or one of the other companies. There's other great string companies out there, but I use Skulls every time. It doesn't bother me. I don't have any reason to try something else. And with the Solar, Ola's not one to expect his artist not ever play another type of guitar. But even if he was, I could play Solar and that's it. I mean, I like the guitar that much. So I wanted to get endorsed, but I reached out and I didn't hear anything the first time. And then as time went on, I reached out again. I thought maybe it's because I didn't have enough of a following, and I'd grown a little bit, and I reached out again, and didn't hear anything. And then Robin actually got me in touch with Louise herself, who responded, and she said, "Well, I looked at your page, and you're not there yet." Basically, she's like, "We'd love to have you," and they remembered me from. She remembered me at least from NAMM. Because when we were at NAMM, one of the nights we went to, we had like the Discord members get together for everybody that was there. And, so I talked to Ola and Louise there. And then, at NAMM, we briefly, and she remembered me and she said, "We'd love to have you, but, there is a minimum, standard." So it's funny, when you see on the internet, and because Solar has a lot of artists, they think all you have to do is buy the guitar and then say, "Hey, I want to be an artist." And, it's just not really that way at all.
No.
Especially for a guy like me that is still small and you're trying to build up. For me to get to over 3,000 followers on my band page on Facebook, that's where I was closest. Mm-hmm. Because that was, for me, the minimum at the time. And I'm sure that could go up, as the brand continues to grow. It may get harder and harder as time goes on. But for a guy that just makes instrumental music without a vocalist, and I'm not out playing live, it's all internet, online based. that wasn't easy. That wasn't easy for a think.
It's not.
And
it's not.
I was somehow close on already, but I had to get more.
Mm-hmm.
And so I worked at it, and putting more content on that page and trying to steer people there. And, when I got there, then I reached out to Louise again, and then it was, for sure. So that's how that endorsement came to be. But
that's awesome. So I got one more question before we go. So we're going to have to wrap this up.
Yeah.
What's next for Graves of the Innocent?
You know what? I don't really know, because I just kind of take it as I go. There'll definitely be more music. I can promise that. And the Metal Cave thing, I think I've found a comfort zone with that. I'm doing it one a month, so I'll be keeping that up. And I don't know, this year, now that the album's out, I'm looking to maybe make some more music with other people, because that's been something I've discovered is really fun to do too, is making music with your friends online. Whether they're in Germany or Sweden or Canada, you have that ability now. Whereas where I live, there's a few musicians, but we're not, it's not a town where it's known for music.
It's not like it's this or something with the musicians. You if you're a little bit different, it doesn't necessarily fly. They don't want to collaborate with you and stuff. Anyway, this interview went really awesome and a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. But it was great. I'm really happy that you actually kind of took the reins there and talked and did all that kind of stuff. So, guys, if you have not checked out Graves of the Innocent, whether it's the Metal Cave on his YouTube channel, his Facebook page, or his new album, Dystopian Dreams, you should probably do that. It's on Spotify. I listened to it last night, and like we said Robin Flink's on it, Rex Brianis. I say that complete. How do I say Rex's name? I'm sorry, Rex. I'm sorry, man. I screw up everything. But it's an awesome album. So check out those videos and all that stuff, and give him a follow over on Facebook. All the Facebook and and YouTube subs and stuff. All that kind of stuff helps. And I will say this. If you like this video, you can click the subscribe button, the like button, and the notification bell, because all that stuff helps too. Do you ever say that in your videos? Just smash that mother effing like button. Yeah. And that notification bell.
I've avoided it so far, but I know it's going to come out one of these days.
It has to happen one of these days. Pat, thank you so much for doing this.
Brian, I appreciate you doing this for me on your birthday. Happy birthday.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that joke has still never gone away over a year later. Thank you so much. I'm glad people appreciate that my birthday is every day on this planet, especially on the internet.
All right. A lot of fun.
All right. You guys. Yeah, hey, thank you for doing this. It was kind of off the cuff and kind of just happened. You guys have an awesome day, and we will see you all next time you're on the internet looking for one of us. Have a great day, and we'll see you later. And make sure to check out Graves of the Innocent. See yous.